So I had this idea the other day. In a lot of my games I see people stand in silly places and make silly pathing choices. And so I thought that I might make a video and just share some of the techniques that I've learned on particular maps. So I'm starting with the Horn of Magnus, and I'm just doing this on Nightmare with bots for the sake of the video. But the idea is kind of share some techniques that I've picked up by hosting games and running the loot die. So trying to farm for reds on either Nightmare or Kata. Most of the techniques are mainly geared towards Kata because Nightmare is, relatively speaking, so easy. And there's a lot of people who play this game a lot more than me that are a lot more knowledgeable than I am, that I'm sure have better techniques and different techniques. But these are just some that I've picked up, and so I hope you can glean something. So I hope this helps you, and if you have better techniques, please share them. So to start off, I always go for the chests first so that my team isn't standing around and waiting for me, because pubs are probably going to forget you have loot die even if you tell them, and even if you do, they just might not wait. And I skip most of the items and I let my team go after them if they want them, because I'm going to take the first gram and I'm going to take the first tome. So for this part, it's very often that a horde spawns here. Hold in the hallway, or you can come down here and hold down here if the horde comes. I like to hold down here because you're safe from gas, you can see everything that's approaching you, and you don't have to watch your back. Because if you're in the hallway, everybody's going to look front, nobody's going to watch the back, and somebody's going to take a smack. Now here's the key for this part. You path around this side like this. Every game I play, I see somebody go in the middle, and they get surrounded, and they die, because they went in the middle where they can't see what's coming from them and where they can get surrounded. But here on the edges, you can see to the left, you can see to the right, nothing can come behind you. And if something does come, you have a couple seconds to deal with it because you can see it crawl up to where you're at. I think it's a much safer option. It might take a little bit longer, but you have to fight many fewer rats and you'll take less damage, so I think it's worth it. But the main thing is to go around this side passage. Don't go down the left passage, go down the right passage right here, because there's that chest there and because you're going to want to get the first grim anyway. The reason this is the first is because a patrol might spawn, and if a patrol spawns, it's going to go right down the middle, and if you're here on the right hand side, then you've already dodged the first patrol. Now here, there's a chest to your right, but I usually go to the left because your pubs, they're going to be going to the tome. They're not going to be thinking about that chest. And if one of them does get that chest, I feel like it's a small price to pay to guarantee the two over here, the two towards the left where the tome is. Then on the way back, I might come and get this chest over here if they haven't got it. This part doesn't have to be hard. If you position yourself intelligently, it doesn't have to be a difficult part, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people stay in the middle, they get surrounded, and they die. So you have two optimum places, both back corners. The reason they're optimum places is because you have an escape route. You don't want to be standing in the middle, and you don't want to be somewhere where you don't have an escape route. Now you can stand here, but the problem here is that rats will spawn on top of you, but it can be done. I've held both places true solo on Kata without any problems. However, I'll say that this area right here is a lot easier and it's a lot safer because you have a couple seconds to see the rats coming, and if something happens, you just scoot over this wall here to the right, and that little bit of verticality will buy you some time to go into the stables. Now if someone dies and you have to rescue someone, oftentimes they'll spawn here in the stable, and these two doors, you can play around those two doors right there and buy yourself time and buy yourself space to kite the horde and to deal with rats if you have to do this by yourself. Now there's items here, usually I skip them and I just go straight to the second grim because there's a chest over there, and because that's where your puppies are going to be thinking to go anyway. Now this is also a very popular place for an ogre to spawn. If that happens, your best bet, if you're solo or something, is to circle around it. Circle around the statue, just like it was Last Stand or something. But when you are circling around and when you're kiting the ogre in this area, you gotta watch out for all the stuff on the bottom. There's like debris all over the ground, and that debris will block your dodge. And so sometimes that can get you killed if you're not mindful of where the debris is and where you're dodging. The rest of this part is pretty straightforward. It's very linear. If an ogre spawns at the top of the stairs, be mindful that he might push you down off the top. So usually I just retreat and fight him down low, unless we have enough firepower to deal with them very quickly. Now I go in the door on the right, not the left. The reason is because sometimes a patrol will spawn up there, and this is a more direct route to the chest, and sometimes that patrol will spawn, so at least I feel like there you have a little bit more chance to see it and to avoid it. Here, again, you have a choice. You have 2 chests or 1. Usually I go forward and get the 2 chests and just accept that some pub is going to open the 1 chest. I feel like it's better to have a guaranteed opening of 2 chests. Now when you're here in your pocket, the main thing to be worried about is, of course, if gas happens and you have to leave the pocket. You have 2 options. You can go left or right. The thing with the stairs is you have to be really careful because the attack animation is much faster when they're above you on the stairs, so you have less time to react and to deal with it. So unless I'm host, I tend to avoid the stairs, and I might try to go right. And if you go right into this pocket here, you have a 90-degree area where the rats can come. So it's a very defensible position, but once you're in the pocket, you don't have that much in terms of escape routes. Up here, if you go up on the ledge, you can kind of jump off that ledge wherever you want and escape, but now you're dealing with rats in front of you and behind you, and so, you know, that might cause you problems. So I hope something here was of use to you to help clear Horn of Magnus more efficiently and more consistently on your own. I think most of these ideas apply mainly to newer players who are trying to grind for loot and who are trying to complete maps quickly and efficiently, rather than experienced players who already have their own techniques and who already have their own tactics that work for them.